The Supercar Challenge is powered by Pirelli, Syntix Innovative Lubricants, Autosportinsurance.com, and IDIS High Definition Surveillance Systems. Hello and welcome to Spa Francorchamps in Belgium for round 7 of the Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli. Coming up, the Super Sport and Sport classes, but first, the IDIS Superlights Challenge. It's the third time these super fast sports cars and prototypes have raced in Belgium, twice at Zolder, now at Spa, for round 4 of the championship. The IDIS Superlights Challenge is divided into 2 divisions. Group 1 for cars like the V8 Radical SR8, but also aerodynamically sophisticated LMP3 and CN prototypes, including the Norma M20FC of Deldish Racing. Luc de Kock and Sam de Jong are currently second in the standings, but by taking pole for both races, the difference now from them to the leaders is just 3 points. Don't really have a strategy, says Sam. I think we just got to be the quickest all weekend, make no mistakes and win the race. That's the only way to close the championship lead, but we're ready. Leaders in Group 1 are Jörg Schumacher and Joe van Splunderen with the Wolf GBO8 run by Bas Kouten. Schumacher made his debut this season in the fast Italian CN prototype, and he does the whole qualifying session alone in order to learn Spa a little better. It works. He sets the 4th fastest time, a good place from which to defend their championship lead. Poleman Sam de Jong leads them away in race 1. He'll do the entire race on his own. Championship lead Jörg Schumacher in 5th place, the black and gold Wolf driver being a little cautious down into the first turn. Comprehensively outbraking himself on the left is Bernd Rosenschon, and inside picking up 2 or 3 places the Tartus of Tim Jursen, who started in 5th position. Better news for Schumacher is that Henk Thijs takes the lead from de Jonge, and there's only 1 car between the 2 of them. However, on lap 8, the car dies at the hairpin.
This incident happened where we had some leak in the oil system or something like that. So yeah, it's especially very sad because it's double points today, so probably that decided the championship.
A tough break for Jörg Schumacher. Sam de Jong still chasing the V8 Radical of reigning Group 1 champion Henk Thijs, but after 10 laps, the 70-year-old racing veteran is on his way back to the pits on foot. His race is also over. I wasn't really pushing right to the limit, he says. I was able to control the pace, had a good enough pace to stay in front. Unfortunately, the engine stopped working. Race over. Not quite sure what the problem is. Think it's probably electronics. It's a shame, really. I did have a slight chance to defend my championship title, but I won't give up. Pim van Rietveld driving the other Radical SR8. Maybe we'll share the car for the second race tomorrow, and that should give us a chance to score some points and maybe do well in the championship too. A tough break for 2 of our championship contenders means Pim van Rietveld stays in second in his SR8. 3rd place goes to Tim Jursen and Glenn Haverals. Haverals here taking over at the midway pit stop for the second part of the race. But maximum points go to Sam de Jong with pole position, fastest lap and the race win. With their biggest rivals out of the race, he and Luc de Kock take the lead in the championship, but Sam is still not satisfied. Start was okay, but I just couldn't keep up with Henk Thijs. He's too quick on the straight. I tried everything to get closer, managed to pass him on the outside just before the pit stop window opened. After the stop, I had to push really hard. I had no idea where Van Splunderen was. I didn't know they were out of the race. Race was red flagged, don't know why. I'd rather kept going until the checkered flag, but it's a race win. I guess that's all that matters. Merely starting race 1 was the biggest challenge for Group 2 championship leader Philippe de Klerk. He ran over some of the new sausages inside the curbs at Spa and destroyed the entire bottom of the Norma. Thanks to hard work from the team and support of Norma Benelux, he is ready for the first race of the weekend. However, he's no match for Germany's Heinz Kramer in the yellow Acela PR21 or the Praga R1 of Paul Celius. It's a first victory in the Superlights Challenge for Kramer.
Well, it's really hard. Paul makes me really hard pressure, and it was over the whole distance a hard fight, but it was okay. But no, I'm very tired and I'm really happy.
And de Klerk keeps the Group 2 championship lead thanks to his 3rd place finish. Heading into race 2, Jörg Schumacher and Joe van Splunderen have their work cut out for them. They're now 18 points behind the Group 1 championship leader. Schumacher will do the second race of the weekend on his own at a damp Spa Francorchamps. Van Splunchen giving him final instructions on the phone before Schumacher starts this shorter 45-minute race. The rain has stopped, but the track's still very wet, so picking the right tyre will be a gamble. Is it slicks or is it wet? Starting from pole, Luc de Kock in the Norma has a comfortable championship lead, so he will gamble on slicks, but getting temperature into the tyres on the cold, damp circuit will be an issue. As Jörg Schumacher discovers going off on the outlap as they remove the grass, you can see that the car is in fact on cut slicks. Now, unfortunately, they are not legal. Ready for the start of race 2, everybody on slicks apart from Philippe de Klerk and Wim Juris. Luc de Kock, the white car from Pim van Reert. Jörg Schumacher third in the Black Wolf. Tim Hewson in fourth in the Tartus, the orange and black car, ahead of Bernd Rosenschen and Philippe de Klerk in the green and white Norma. De Klerk on wet weather tyres should benefit early on, but then it's all about tyre wear. Good start from Pim van Reert in the Radical SR8. The red car will take the lead into La Source, and Jörg Schumacher on the inside. Slickshod cars really scrabbling for grip as they head down the hill. Red car's Pim van Reert, he's the leader. A Group 2 car in second place. The green and white Norma on wet weather tyres. That's Philippe de Klerk. Jörg Schumacher third, Tim Hewson fourth. And Luc de Kock down to fifth place, the pole sitter in the white Norma. Third place, Jörg Schumacher with harder, slick tyres that'll take time to get the temperature in. The grooves will help disperse the water, but the softer wet weather tyres will come in much more quickly. On board with Pim van Reert, and through goes the wet weather tired Philippe de Klerk. He takes the lead in the Group 2 car. Great pass from him, using the wide wet line. More grip out there than there is on the normal racing line. Luc de Kock in with damage on the Norma. Contact with Jörg Schumacher in La Source. We saw the car smoking. Body panels are off, and he's got oil flooding all over the flat floor of the car. Just one lap and our race was over, he says, on the exit of La Source. I think it was Schumacher misjudging the slippery conditions. Bumped into the side of me. That damaged the radiators, and race over. Pim van Reert closing now on the Norma as a drier line appears. The Norma 260 horsepower, the Radical SR8 430, and now he's got the grip. The Group 1 leader, Pim van Reert, can really exploit it and breeze by the Norma. But conditions remain tricky despite its sophisticated aero. The LMP3 Ginetta comes in for wets because they can't get any heat in their slicks. Big fat tyres don't work in these cold conditions. Group 1 goes to Pim van Reert. He wins it comfortably. He made it look a lot easier than it was, though. The track was really doubly tricky. The surface was wet and dry, very unpredictable. On the first lap, somebody emptied oil all over the racing line around the whole lap. It started from the first corner and went all the way up to Blanchimont, so I had to relearn racing lines. Really hard to see the oil in the wet. Went off a couple of times, so those were close calls. But then once you know where the slippery parts are, you can keep up a good pace and build your lead. Car was great, very happy. In the championship, Luc de Kock and Sam de Jong are still the leaders because Jörg Schumacher and Joe van Splunchen get no points for third place because they use cut slicks, so a blessing in disguise for Deldish Racing. In Group 2, Philippe de Klerk legged the race out right early on, and with wet weather tyres clearly the best option, had a big lead in his group. Everybody else was dealing with wet patches and slicks. Battle between Ko Kopjan, passing David Hotoft into the bus stop for fourth place, and then setting off after the yellow Acela of Race 1 winner Heinz Kramer. Incidentally, the Race 1 runner-up Paul Celius had spun the Praga R1 out of contention on the second lap. Kopjan running down Kramer in Bruxelles. Challenge on for third place. Always hard to know whether to use the drier or wetter side of the track. The drier line will have more rubber and oil down on it and may not be as grippy, perversely, as the wetter part of the track. So it's a juggling act for both men. On the climb back up the hill, Wim Juris in front of us, but with his extra horsepower in the Norma, David Hotoft comes charging back up. And at this stage, Hotoft's slicks are working better than the wets on the black Norma. He'll pass Wim Juris for second. Juris struggling on the wets and Kokupion on slicks also closing in. Between the two of them though, York Schumacher in the Wolf still struggling on its hand-cut slicks and not making the best of a bad job. Kokupion going around the outside to the bus stop. On the inside, York Schumacher. Contact though, and a spin for him. The race is going from bad to worse. Kokupion trying to exploit his grip. Looking down the inside for third position. Real tippy-toey, wheel-to-wheel stuff here. But he manages to just about find the traction and gets by Wim Juris. Way ahead of all that, Philippe de Klerk claimed his 5th win from 8 starts this season. Decided to do the race on wets, he said. We thought it might be a risky decision, but it turned out to work perfectly. So happy, so good for the championship lead. Really have to say thanks to the guys from Normal Benelux again for their hard work and for the body panels that they gave us after I had a crash on Friday. Turned out to be a great weekend. Friday had my doubts whether we'd race at all, but we managed to pull it off, and a great result. De Klerk boasts a handy championship lead going into the finale in Assen. Paul Celis in second, needing something of a miracle. Tight battle for third between Heinz Kramer and Wim Juris. That's it for the 4th round of the IDIS Superlights Challenge. After the break, we return to Spa Francorchamps with the action from the Sport and Super Sport classes. Stay with us. The Supercar Challenge is powered by Pirelli, Syntix Innovative Lubricants, Autosportinsurance.com, and IDIS High Definition Surveillance Systems. The legendary Spa Francorchamps in the Belgian Ardennes is the venue for round 7 of the Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli for the Sport and Super Sport classes. With only 4 races remaining in the season, every point has extra importance, especially for Koen Burkhardt, Mark van der Aert and Peter van Solen, because they could claim the Super Sport class title here in Belgium. They have a comfortable lead, so will they be playing it safe, or will they go full out and attack for victory? Mark says every race weekend we try and stay safe to hang on to our championship lead, but of course as soon as the race starts our main goal is to win it. We'll try and remain cool and not take any unnecessary risks. We're trying to find the balance between scoring as many points as possible and staying out of trouble, but anything can happen. Erik van der Munkhoff's the only man who can ruin their championship chances. Here he starts 9th though for both races. Bogarts and Mark van der Aert are second on the grid. Richard Neary's BMW M3 GTR V8 will start on pole. Luc de Kock's Lotus there in 3rd. Dennis de Boer's Leon Cup in 4th ahead of Tom van Rompuy's BMW. And Luc van Loon, he starts in 6th in the Lotus Exige. Checks the mirrors looking for the inside line. Dennis de Boer in front in the Seat. There's the little Lotus 211 and there's the black Exige. Erik van der Munkhoff has moved up to 8th. And here comes the challenge from Luc van Loon down into Eau Rouge. And goes by Dennis de Boer in the Seat Leon Cup Racer. And that's a brave move. De Boer needs to keep the speed through here. And through Radion onto the long Kemmel Straight. The pink and white BMW of the championship leaders has a narrow lead, and it's all about the start of the race. Onboard replay shows Richard Neary just in front out of La Source, and with a slight overlap, Van der Aert putting him under pressure into Eau Rouge. Neary carries the speed in, but a little too much at the first apex, and as they get to Radion, he has to sort it all out. Complex is all about momentum onto the Kemmel Straight, and Mark van der Aert has that in spades. He takes the lead. Van der Aert pulls away, leaving Neary to battle the Lotus of Luc van Loon. With no results seconds for the Exige drivers, Jan van der Kooi in the second part of the race is in a battle with Koen Burkhardt for the lead. So you've got the big, powerful V8 BMW with more weight, and the Lotus with less weight, braking later, maybe handling better, but without that power. And wherever he tries, Jan van der Kooi finds that the sheer grunt of the BMW on this long, fast Spa circuit is just enough to keep Burkhardt in front. No matter what he tries, Van der Kooi can't find a way by. The championship leaders claim victory with the Lotus drivers in second. Third goes to a one-off entry, EMG Motorsport's BMW M3 for Steve van Bellingen and Tom van Rompuy. Erik van der Munkhoff finishes in sixth, giving the championship leaders a 42-point advantage and the chance to tie it up in race 2. In the sport class, Wiebe Weizers has a 9-point advantage in the EMG Motorsport Renault Clio. A fifth pole would have made it 10, but he didn't achieve that. It was snatched away by Lotus drivers Carlin Bergsma and Peter de Jong.
Yeah, it's a super...
Great result, said Peter. Yesterday in free practice, we already made great progress. Today in qualifying, we set the fastest lap times in the second or maybe the third lap, so can't imagine starting the weekend any better. Their advantage doesn't last long as Bart Vandenbroek takes the lead in the Peugeot RCZ, Carlin Bergsma in second. Wiebe Weizers, fifth place, main championship rival Rob Neiman seventh. But with 6 wins, Weizers has a huge number of result seconds, and that's good news for his rivals. Weizers ends up in 7th place, Rob Neiman 5th, Vandenbroek and Chris Vogt in 2nd place. It's 3rd for Kim Troyen, Carlin Bergsma and Peter de Jong winning despite a few setbacks during the race. Carlin saying, we thought we'd done a perfectly timed pit stop, but it turns out we were a second too short. So Peter had to come in for the drive-through penalty. We still managed to win the race though, so I'm very happy with our performance here at Spa. With pole position for race 2 as well, Mark van der Aert and Koen Boekarts only need to outscore rival Erik van der Munkhoff by a single point here in Spa to be uncatchable in the Supersport Championship race. This means they just need to finish in front of him to become the champions. The cars never let them down so far this season. Unfortunately not the case for van der Munkhoff in the second half of the year. He's seen the JR Motorsport team grow and grow their lead. He starts from 9th in race 2. It's going to be a tough job. So in the Supersport class, Koen Boekarts with the lead in the pink and white BMW from Richard Neary. Sam de Jong a 3rd in the Lotus 211 from Dennis de Borst in the Seat Leon. But flying past him and the 211 is the black Lotus Exige of Jan van der Kooi up to 3rd. And they're all slowing down as Vard Slice has crashed heavily in the GT BMW. And his former teammate Steve van Bellingen takes advantage to go through for 5th. And look in the door mirror, the 1 Series BMW is there, Marc de Graaf alongside. And he grabs 6th as they go through Radion. The safety car is then scrambled on lap 1. When the safety car comes back in after about 20 minutes, the pit stop window is open for the Sport Division. Koen Boekarts coming in immediately to prevent him getting stuck in slower GTB traffic or getting involved in battles that'll cost them time. When they head back out, they'll be in amongst the Super GT cars, but their goal in this race is absolutely crystal clear. We got to finish and in front of Erik van der Munkhoff. That way we can win the championship. But if there's a chance of winning the race as well, we're definitely going to go for it. That'll be the cherry on the cake. With 0 result seconds, Erik van der Munkhoff leapfrogs Boekarts and van der Aert with 30 after the pit stops. But van der Aert closes the gap right down in the bus stop. Erik van der Munkhoff has to go offline to avoid some tyre debris, giving van der Aert the run, and he grabs 4th place. In front of Erik van der Munkhoff now, they are on target for the championship. Good battle here for 8th in the yellow and grey Seat, Dennis Hermeling, and Ronald van Leeuwen in the white and blue BMW. Dennis made his debut in the Supercar Challenge this year in the Seat. He showed some great progress, and he goes on to finish in 6th place in the Supersport class at Spa. Leading after the pit stops is the 1 Series BMW of Dennis de Groot. Dennis de Borst's Seat was 2nd, but he's already been passed by Mark van der Aert. And that then leaves us with a battle royal between the JR Motorsport teammates for victory. De Groot in front with a standard M3 engine in his car, a similar capacity 3.2 litre engine for Mark van der Aert, but much more advanced. And the power shows as they climb the hill. He breezes by his teammate and into the lead. In the end, it was a good race for Erik van der Munkhoff. From 9th on the grid, he takes 3rd out, breaking Dennis de Borst at Les Combes, but he's still 2 spots behind the championship leaders. Or should we say the champions? Because victory in race 2 for Mark van der Aar and Koen Burkhardt seals the Supersport title for them and Peter van Solen. While the Seats have shown great progress this season, it's a top 3 for BMW, and the championship is handed from Lotus driver Cor Reuser to JR Motorsport's BMW trio. It's amazing, says Mark. We've ended up second place so often. It's our first championship title together. Shane Peter's not here to celebrate, but he's doing another race here at Spa. We all did a great job there. We can be very proud of ourselves. So happy in a championship where the points are so close, 20 for a win, 18 for second and so on. We've got the championship with one race weekend to go. Shows how well we've done. And that final race weekend will be in Assen. The champions are decided, but there's a battle royal going on for the places behind. But first, a chance for our champions to celebrate, joined by arch rival Eric van der Munkhoff. Peugeot duo Chris Foot and Bart van den Broek take the lead in race 2 in the sport class as well. They are miles ahead of the competition with few results second. The battles rage on for 5th place between Wiebe Weitzers and the blue and yellow car of his championship rival Rob Neiman. Weitzers got by Neiman at the bus stop, Neiman down to 6th, and then gets collected by the Super GT Lamborghini GT3 of Thomas Enger. While Neiman recovers to stay 6th, but Wiebe Weitzers races on to 3rd place as Foot and Van den Broek win the race. Victory for the Peugeot.
Met de start was ik direct gewoon weg. Eerste plaats gepakt.
At the start I took the lead, said Chris Foot. Then in the first lap the safety car came out. It became a waiting game. It seemed like it took forever. But when they went back in, I had 2 clean laps to build a lead. That was enough to keep it after the pit stops. My teammate Bart managed to keep up a good pace as well, and perfect end to the race for us. And victory for them at Spa keeps them in the championship hunt. Wiebe Weitzers just 9 ahead. There are 44 points on offer in the season finale in Assen. Any of the top 3 could win it. And that's it for Spa Francorchamps. We head now to the TT circuit at Assen, the Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli season finale. And you can catch all the action next time out on Motors TV. The Supercar Challenge is powered by Pirelli, Syntix Innovative Lubricants, Autosportinsurance.com, and IDIS High Definition Surveillance Systems.